Hello everyone, it is still early on in the season and we have already completed the infinite grind. So all of the games in today's spotlight video will be post-infinite. And today we have a Wiccan deck, a wicked Wiccan deck. Wiccan was I was very low on Wiccan on release, but I did put the caveat that if there was a card from last season that somehow found its way into really relevant, effective decks later on, it would be Wiccan. Because with Wiccan, if you can find a way to build him naturally into your build, you can get a huge payoff from it. So today we are running a little bit of a Silver Sable, Werewolf, Hawk, Bounce style deck. And so Wiccan kind of ties this all together, giving us a huge reach on the later parts of the game. The early strategy just looks to disrupt early and often and continually play multiple cards. The way that we win one of our lanes is typically going to be Werewolf, because we'll be able to scale him to a monstrosity level. The other one is going to be either cluttering an opponent's lane with our light clutter package of Hood, Viper, White Widow, and even Kate Bishop from time to time adds to that mix. Or with the Hawk line, by being able to mix in Korg, potentially pick it up, drop it again, we'll typically have around an 11 power or more Hawk at the end of the game. And so if we've been able to drop the Wiccan, then that is going to be wicked good, because we'll be able to have an explosive last turn play that the opponent is going to have a hard time judging exactly where things are going to land. And if you didn't pick up Wiccan, I completely understand. I'm going to show two other builds on the screen. One is going to be more of a standard just bounce style list, and the other is going to be an affliction style, both of which I think are strong, but I think this one may potentially be stronger. In post-infinite, I was able to maintain over a 60% win rate for over 20 games, and it's been incredibly fun to play. We're going to go ahead and end the deck explanation there, jump into our games. Thank you guys, as always, for being here. I hope you guys enjoy. All right, first up we have damage, and the first location is Tinker's Workshop. We do have Wiccan in hand, but we're going to need to get a little bit lucky with drawing another one of our one costs next turn to be able to activate it. Let's see, we're going to start with our White Widow, just in case this second location ends up being the hot location right now, the Abbey. Otherwise, we would have played over to the left. So we want a one-cost card. Beautiful. We're still not completely out of the water, but we have several outs going into next turn. And so let's go ahead and go Sable into the Hood. We have two chances to draw into a 3-cost card or a 2-cost card, because we will have the Demon. I actually think we're okay here. I kind of want to snap into it, but we're just going to play it kind of slowly, kind of patiently. We draw into our Beast, so we will be able to pick up the White Widow, the Silver Sable, and then on 4 we can drop Wiccan. We can drop Silver Sable on 3 because it'll be free. And then just about everything that we play can go into the Abbey to dodge the US Agent. All right, I'm going to go ahead and snap into it. I wanted to snap earlier, but I think with the US Agent, it's in such a kind of a weak place against a lot of decks. So with this one, we only have 2 cards that could potentially be impacted by it. Otherwise, it's just a 2/3 that they threw down. Ooh, Havoc over in the right lane is actually really scary. Because by the end of the game, I mean, their energy is going to be super low, though. So by the end of the game, it's going to be 4, 8, 12 plus the 5. So it goes up insanely high. We can just do like Wiccan, Silver Sable, or do we even need the extra energy in this game because of the Kiln being off the table? We could do something like Nico, maybe Nico, White Widow, Sable. Go ahead and throw Korg over to the right. And then we'll save the Demon. We could create a copy of Silver Sable, but I think I want to go with a copy of White Widow instead to force them into a really tough spot. So we're just going to give up in Kiln because Havoc is too treacherous, but they do have speed, which I think is a really cool kind of good direction that they went. Since they're going to have low energy, speed is going to be able to be easier to trigger every single turn. Definitely a cool idea from damage here. All right, I'm going to go White Widow, Do we go White Widow? Or do we assume they play there this turn? Because maybe we need to go something like Hawk into Demon or Wiccan left next turn. Let's go ahead and do that. I assume that they play there with a Goose. I'm so glad we dropped our Hawk ahead of time. So, oh no. Very cool idea from Damage, but it just happened that we were able to get around every single like restriction that they had. We'll take the 4. Let's jump over into the next one. All right, next up we have 10 drills. The first location is Westview. We do have several ways to make sure we get all of our energy down. I'm going to start with a Korg. I'm going to start with that Disruption versus the Hood, since we have the guaranteed good drop of Kate Bishop next turn. So let's go with Korg, add a little bit of uncertainty. We're going against another Kitty Pryde deck. Savage Lands in mid is a little bit scary. Let's go ahead and play our... Go ahead and play our Kate Bishop. That opens up the possibility for like an Acid Arrow plus White Widow on turn number 3, which I think is fantastic. So difficult to see that line coming for you. And so I think that is exactly what we're going to mix in here. Though I really like getting Werewolf down where we can. We're going to do the Werewolf first. We're going to play it a little bit slower, a little bit more patiently, and then maybe they won't be anticipating the Acid Arrow if we... don't drop it immediately after the Kate Bishop. And I'm playing Werewolf into mid in case they have an Acid Arrow of their own. That way it would kind of protect us in this lane. But they fill it up. They go Basic Arrow left. Wow. Shadowland left is crazy as well. A lot of constriction on our spaces in this game. Let's go with White Widow into Hood plus Acid Arrow. We'll leave one space open here. Werewolf bounces all around the board, which is great. They've played both of their arrows, so I'm not worried. Oh, wow. They only played one card. We could have capped them out here. I thought about doing like the Acid Arrow or Grapple Arrow into Acid Arrow instead of the Hood. I wish we had now, but I assumed they would play or continue to play their Kitty Pryde. I'm guessing this is Windpool then, if they're using that, or Wiccan. Wiccan does come down, but they don't have a lot of space to utilize all of that extra energy now. And so it becomes very, very difficult for them. We also get a Wiccan of our own, but we would be in the same spot where we just don't have the space to utilize it. So instead of Wiccan, I think we're going to go less greedy. Maybe we go Falcon, Grapple Arrow. Maybe it's Falcon, Demon, Grapple Arrow. So the Falcon pulls 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That leaves us at 7. So maybe we go ahead and do the Nico. Let's go ahead and go with this. We have initiative. Our board is going to technically be full until we start pulling things in. So we get our Raptor clear. We get the negative Ninja, the negative Hood, so that it helps us out in the left lane a touch. And then right now we do have the Werewolf hanging out in the left lane as well with that big power. We have a pretty good Ajax, so we have to look out for the Hazmat stuff. But can they beat us with... that? We can always go Wiccan. That pulls Werewolf here. Wiccan goes over to the right. We then do Org to the left to pull him back. And for giggles, in case there's a point differential, we're going to play our extra Raptor and see what we can make happen. But I think if they have Hazmat, we have to definitely look out for that possibility and just not being able to beat the Ajax line. And so I think we're probably not even going to try. Wiccan slides over into the right lane. We have the Werewolf Org pulling him back. We're susceptible to like Shang-Chi in the left, but otherwise I think we're all right. So Man-Thing comes in, and we still win that lane. Luke Cage bounces their cards back up. It helps our Ajax quite a bit, but we are able to hold down the left lane with a massive Werewolf, the right lane with the Wiccan, which I'm so glad we positioned the Wiccan here to be able to tie be able to match that power output of the Man-Thing. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been able to compete with them. We will take the 4. Let's go ahead and jump over into the next one. All right, next up we have Servant Kelvin. The first location is Bar Sinister. Would be wicked if we did something like Silver Sable there, right? We're not going to. We're going to play Silver Sable into mid. Next turn, maybe becomes White Widow into the left. We have initiative. We're going to. This is going to be a very short game, you guys. But we're going to go White Widow left. Unless they do have a Jeff or something that they can play over there. It's very tough to overcome that. It can be done because it is technically only 0 to 8 if they have a way to buff any kind of ongoing cards. See you in the next one. All right, next up we have Mr. Bad Thor. First location is the Superflow. We do have the means to get the extra energy down. So I'm going to go ahead and go White Widow mid. There's a chance that turns into the Abbey. If so, we give them the avenue to be able to get the extra card draw. We're running up against a rare Arsham deck. I don't see, or I haven't seen very much of it this season. I think people are more interested in trying out the new mechanics that we have, but that may shift over time. Let's go Kate Bishop plus Hood, just in case this is the Abbey. I think in general, we probably play it a little bit different, but with that being the hot location, I think it's worthwhile to at least have 2 there in case it turns into it. So Sunspot, Collector. Sunspot is beautiful from Arsham, by the way, because it's going to have all of the extra energy to utilize. It does turn into the Abbey, so we are going to get that extra card draw here, and we get Wiccan. So we can go Wiccan on 3, which is awfully wicked. Wiccan into, we have a Sable plus Beast line. We also have like Viper, maybe Viper plus Beast. I guess it depends on what we draw. So we're going to have a good amount of extra energy going to these final turns. The Collector gets huge. Sunspot as well. Very, very scary. So a small 7 energy here. We can go Werewolf. Werewolf, Viper, Silver Sable. And then Beast this lane back in. Going to set us into mid after this turn. It's going to be full, but we will have Werewolf to bounce around. So I think my end goal or end game is going to be trying to get Werewolf over into this right lane to be able to match their Collector Sunspot shenanigans. And so big old blob, 8, a total of 4 cards, Absorbing Man, Silk, Enchantress, and Gamora for a nasty 40 power. So it's a 20 power card. We have Hawk, so we will be able to overtake that on the last turn. Let's go Beast. Then I think I'm going to go maybe Grapple Arrow to the right to pull the Werewolf over. In stage, because we are going to be pretty tight for energy on the last turn. So we can go ahead and do like a Demon over here as well. Werewolf will be in this lane. We have a space here for our Hawk. We have a space here for an on reveal to bring Werewolf over into this lane. I want to snap into it, but they have so much variety in cards that they could drop. That even with an almost guarantee, I'm never absolutely sold or certain. Because they could always have a Goliath that cancels out what we want to do here. So I no longer think we can beat the Red Hulk over here. Unless we did, like, Hawk. But we can always do Hawk. Throw into, like, a Kate Bishop. Or we just go Hawk and Arrow. We don't go with any fancy bouncing. We don't do anything silly. We just stick to the basics. Because otherwise, it's hard to get hit. It's hard to get werewolf back in this lane unless we did. I guess we could do. Yeah, let's do Viper, Kate Bishop left. It'll pull it over to the left, pull it back over to the. It'll pull it over to the right and then back over to the left. So let's go ahead and launch it in. They have the Scar and the Giganto. Goodness. With Werewolf bouncing, I think we have the means to be able to beat it. But my goodness, what a massive last turn play. And so we have the... I want to do the exasperated emote right back at him, but I'm not going to. We will take the 2 cubes. Let's jump over into the next one. All right, next up we have Saber. The first location is the Abbey, which is actually pretty decent for us looking to do some like congestion or clutter stuff. Kitty Pride is not great for the congestion and clutter, but Sanctum Sanctorum, we really don't have any way to reach that location. So it's going to be, spacing I think is going to be pretty constrictive for both of us. We do have a couple of ways to get cards onto their side of the board, freeing up the space on ours. And of course we have Beast to pull ours back in. And so Rocket plus Kitty Pride, it looks like it is going to be a bounce style deck. I imagine they probably bounce this one in this turn potentially. So we could either try to do, I think we do a Viper. And that opens up the line for like Beast or for Demon, or next turn maybe even Kate Bishop plus something else. And so, ooh, the Cosmo pulls over into Asher Dim, so it doesn't stop us from doing what we want to do in the left lane, but it was very scary for a split second. And so we're both locked in over here. We can't pull our Viper back in, unfortunately. But we can do something like Nico Beast. Nico Beast would change this left lane. It would also make them have to fight for the Abbey every single turn. And who knows what the left lane is going to turn into. So Nico, let's see what we change it into. Maybe it'll be the Destroy location, and it takes away their Kitty Pride. Aunt Maze. Oh no, if this is Kitty Pride, no, Gwynpool. Don't bounce into Sanctum. Don't bounce. But saved. Oh, some horrible luck. But we do get fortunate that it ends up pulling over here. Let's go Nico into, or let's go Werewolf into like Nico plus maybe Kate Bishop as well. No. I think we go ahead and play the White Widow just in case. That does leave us open for doing Hawk plus Demon next turn. So they do have the extra power from Gwynpool that went off. So it all comes down to how strong that extra power really is. So Athena and Kitty Pride. So I think we're okay in the left lane. So I'm going to go Hawk plus Korg instead of Hawk plus Demon. I think where we might have to fight for, I guess if we're looking at overall power output, Demon would be 2 more, unless they had a sneaky way to get power into the Sanctum Sanctorum, like a Captain Marvel, a Doctor Doom, and I think with this deck that's probably possible, or like a Jeff, which still they're going to scale by 3, depending on what they dropped here. The Kitty Pride is going to be a tie in this lane, and then it comes down to a tiebreaker, and we win the left. They can have mid. I'm so glad we did it in that order with the Korg to bump this one up. We could have done Demon had we really anticipated this line. We could have done Demon over here to fight this lane, but we will gladly take the 2. Let's jump over into the next one. All right, next up we have Hody. The first location is the Abbey. We're going to go ahead and play our Nico, and we'll see what we can do from there. They didn't play a card on turn number 1. Mindscape is not great for us. Let's go ahead and go Kate Bishop instead of White Widow. That's going to open up some possibilities for some really surprising ways to cap out a location or clog the opponent. unless we don't get an Acid Arrow. We still have the Viper White Widow combo, which is still great to see. Aunt May's is also fine. Let's go with a Silver Sable and White Widow mid. There's a chance that we want to pick up Silver Sable if it goes into the left with Beast next turn. We might also want to just do Viper to send the White Widow their way to clog them even further. Magic. So they're turning off Mindscape, which is fine for us. I think we still want to pull Nico back in, just for the chance for her to pull into the location change spell. Because if they're not expecting Limbo to go away, then we get such big benefit from being able to take it away from them. They go one card in Aunt May's. Had we went Viper into mid, we could have maybe, if their Aunt May's card moves over into mid, capped them out. But no such luck. The Magic plus Sunspot is interesting. I'm thinking it's a... I'm thinking it's a high Evo, looking to do like an Infinite She-Hulk style combo. Let's go Nico into Viper, into Korg, Kate Bishop, Basic Arrow. So we're gonna take away their Limbo, which means next turn is the last turn of the game, which is typically so unfortunate for a deck that is looking to have that extra turn or that extra length. They could go, I guess, War Machine would be a line they go with, so they could still play. No, they just go She-Hulk on turn number 5. Interesting. Not what I would have expected at all. We do have a pretty good lead here, so I think we do something like Grappler. I think we do something like Hawk and Grapple Arrow left. That's going to give us a little bit more reach here and a lot more reach in Aunt May's. We can also flip it around, but by taking away the magic location, we do force their hand. All right, next up we have but we don't have a 1-cost card. So we're not going to be able to get the Wick in this game. We do have Kate Bishop plus the White Widow. Could be pretty nice. The rotation tool here could be cool too. Bring 4. There's a couple of cards I really don't want to hit yet. And so I think I'm just going to go Kate Bishop left, and then we'll see from there. With them running Howard, either they're looking to lean into it with like an Iron Lad, a Jubilee, or they're just going with an ongoing line. Since they've skipped the last 2 turns though, I don't know what they're going with. But we do have the ability to clutter this one up. Next turn, I'm thinking we go Werewolf into Silver Sable. Rotate the Silver Sable, see if we can eventually draw it back in. We could also rotate the Korg, which I think maybe might be a little bit better. Silver Sable will save. I like the idea of being able to doubly afflict them, but there's a chance we don't draw back into it or flip back into it or anything.
Hey, I found a
So,
rook.
Korg coming in into the Viper. Bit unfortunate, but... and then Iron Lad comes into play, and it's the Green Goblin. Into the Rock rotation. Oh, that one will be interesting. Let's go ahead and play the Hood. I'm going to go Nico. Actually, we don't want to move over to the left, do we? I'm going to go Nico into Silver Sable rotation into Pim Arrow. Pim Arrow is what we're going to throw to the left so that our Werewolf doesn't bounce over there and negatively afflict himself. Beast pulling back in, well, Werewolf and Viper. Fortunate. Series of unfortunate events in this game. We do get the copy of the Silver Sable. It's going to rotate back into Hood. Woof. All right, so Pim Arrow left, the White Widow right. Big old. So they can always go Iron Lad over here. At least we have a lead in that lane. Go werewolf. Don't want to rotate because of the falcon. But I think we have to. Werewolf, demon. Sable, demon. We're just going to hope for not hitting a falcon rotation. Silver Sable rotation would be fine. Orb rotation would be fine. All right, so a singular rotation in mid. Going with.
Hey man, I'm Cook.
Dr. Doom rotation flip. We win left still. Into the Green Goblin. Plus M'Baku. Wow. What a terrible game. Or both sides. I'm going to go ahead and end it on that one. A little bit too stressful for me. We're going to go ahead and end it on that. Thank you guys for watching. As always, this has been TLSG. Later.